Hey, what's going guys? I'm Mr. here. Today we are back with a Hanzo deck profile. Now I know V is on its way out, so it's pretty sad. But technically speaking, we still have the Clan Select 2 and we may have a V collection. So who knows, if V lives, it's good for all of us. Anyways, today we'll be doing Hanzo, which is a deck that I personally like for a long time. And we've gotten recurring guest Narmi back.
Hey guys, welcome to our Hanzo deck profile. So today I'm going to show you guys a very aggressive beatdown version of Hanzo. From dawn to dusk, we'll evolve and downgrade Hanzo all at the same time, confusing your opponent and attacking them while they don't know what's happening. So to start us off. So for the grade 3s, we play 4 Tasogare Hanzo and 4 Evil Stealth Dragon Akashi Hanzo. So, as you know, these are the main boss monsters of the deck.
It's the same guy!
they're the same guy, but they're different, alright?
Okay, this table
one's the version in the morning, and one's the version right around the night.
Gaska.
Yeah. Alright, anyway. What's Tasogare Hanzo's skill? Alright, he has 2 abilities. The first one being from your hand at the beginning of your opponent's turn. So basically before they draw, you can discard 2 cards from your hand to ride him on top of Evil Stealth Dragon Akashi Hanzo. So the other one. It has to specifically be the other one. But yeah, and for the rest of the turn, all of the rear guards gain plus 5k shield. They don't gain any additional effects other than the 5k shield. But at the end of the turn, you can put back Tasogare Hanzo into the soul to rewrite Akashi Hanzo from your soul. So this also means you're getting an additional 2 protect markers. So you are turboing your markers with this deck.
Just a flash reminder, we are playing Protect 1, not Protect 2. So yeah.
Honestly,
I mean, you could play Protect 2 if you want to press for numbers fast lah, but
and if you know that your opponent has a lot of attack, so your tokens are your main form of defense, or if you know your opponent's coming at you with Sentinel Restrict, in this deck, because you just generate so many tokens, Protect 2 is a viable option, but usually we go for Protect 1 because it's extra discard fodder for the first ability of Hanzo. Hanzo's second ability comes in the form of during your turn, when your Vanguard with the card name Hanzo attacks. So it can be either one of these 2. You can superior call this man from the soul by retiring a grade 0 unit. And he gets plus 20k.
You can attack from the back row.
Yep, so anywhere you place him on the field, you can attack from the back row. So you don't need to feel bad about trying to retire your front row, because you don't necessarily need to get this guy in the front row. And then at the end of the turn, you put him back into soul to create evil decoy token.
So basically the second skill is like a multi-attack, but it only occurs for every copy of Tasogare and the wood. I say every copy because it can actually stack. If you have more than one, you can actually do this over and over again, just as per the number that you actually have available to you. The other thing is that you need wood or grade 0s on the board to start spawning your Tasogores during your battle phase. So generally, you can just flood the back row with as many 0s as possible, swing with what you want. When your main Hanzo swings, aka this guy, then you set your woods and you pull out Tasogare to swing again. Then you put them back to the soul and call more wood. So it's like Pale Moon, but it's like much more flashy and much more cool in my opinion. And it actually needs a bit of setup and thinking, not just, soul charge. So yeah, pretty cool.
Anyway, to go through the ability of the original Akashi Hanzo, his ability is just this one major ability. At once per turn, you can retire 2 grade 0 units. It can be any grade 0 unit. For the other Hanzo also, you can retire 2 grade 0 units. So by retiring 2 grade 0 units, you can bounce, he gains plus 20k. And you can bounce any number of rear guards from your side of the field and your opponent's side of the field to the respective player's hands. And if your opponent is grade 3 or greater, they have to discard as many cards as they return from their side of the field. So this man is good for field control. It kind of deters your opponent from going so aggressively on you. Making 2 Great Zeros isn't really that difficult in this deck, and I'll show you later.
Yeah, it's really easy.
And the plus 20k is a lot of power, and it's very important for other combos later down in this deck profile.
The 20k is actually very good because it's actually a very high number in terms of guarding value, and especially because you're doing multi-attacks. Remember that Tasogare also gains another 20k when he spawns. So 20k appears to be the whole Hanzo mark. That generally, as anytime they're involved in battle, you're gonna need at least 25k to guard because they're going up to 30k, 32k per Hanzo.
If you're a force care, of course it's a 20k guard, but you know, you only have so many of those in your deck. So yeah, most of these attacks force 2 cards from your opponent's hand, so it's generally a very aggressive deck. Moving on to the Grade 2s.
The Grade 2s is a pretty staple lineup of 3 copies of this guy. Then we also play 4 Zangetsu, original print by the way. And then we also play, I can't pronounce this one, Yamashibuki?
Yes.
Okay.
Evil Stealth Dragon Yamashibuki.
Alright.
Anyway, you may be thinking, why is this guy in the deck? Well, when it comes to the token playstyle, this man is very important. As I'm saying this is a very aggressive playstyle. So from turn 2 onwards, you can start rushing down your opponent. So let me go over the skills first. First, Stealth Dragon Gaijin. His ability is when he attacks, if I had called 2 or more Great Zeros this turn, can be from hand, can be from spawning tokens, he gains plus 5k when he attacks a Vanguard. And at the end of the battle he attacked, I may put him into soul to counter charge 1, thus refunding some of my counter blasts that I may have used to spawn more tokens. And our main counter blast in this deck comes from the Grade 2s, so yeah, he's usually to support the 2 Grade 2s. Then we've had this staple card in Hanzo for quite a while, Evil Stealth Dragon Zangetsu. His act ability is counter blast 1 to spawn a token, and that token gains boost. All of your tokens gain boost and plus 5k.
So the reason why we have to mention it doesn't gain boost is because on your woods, right, it clearly mentions the same text that they can intercept from the back row, and they don't have boost. So the thing is that it can't boost, so you have to give it boost from Zangetsu. So even if you spawn evil decoy tokens, only if you actually trigger one of your Zangetsus, then you can actually give it boost. And the second thing we have to mention is that it cannot attack, right? The wood can't actually attack by itself.
Yeah.
So the thing is that you must actually give it all these kinds of skills so that it can actually do things lah. And even if you can't, you can still swap the wood out for Tasogare, but for itself, the reason why we are able to make it into an aggressive playstyle is mainly due to Zangetsu on turn 2, which gives them boost, and then you trigger off into Yamashibuki, which he will explain later. Zangetsu also has that other skill, right? Self-protection.
So, Otto, when he is attacked, you may substitute the attack into token and bounce Zangetsu back to your hand. So, when he's targeted for an attack, you can always say the target changes to an evil decoy token and then bounce Zangetsu back to hand. So, you change the target of the attack to an evil decoy token. So, for example, if your opponent is targeting multiple units, you're changing that target to this evil decoy token. So, you're essentially protecting your field from one attack field wipers, but
you mean if Vermilion swings, you can actually just pull all attacks to the wood and...
Yes. It's a niche application, but it's there.
Wow, so looks like Thunderbreak is going in the trash. Okay, next one.
Anyway, we have the new card from Clan Selection Volume 2, Evil Stealth Dragon Yamashibuki. He has 2 abilities that really make upgrade Hanzo to the next level. So his first ability is during your turn, until when this unit gets plus 5k for each of your Grade 0 units.
It's just doing your entire turn.
Yeah. And why is this important, you may ask? Well, if you use Hanzo's ability, he gets plus 20k, but because of that, his rearguard columns usually are very small. So Yamashibuki allows your rearguard attacks to be a lot more threatening because they are a lot bigger numbers. His other ability is what you're going to mainly spend your counter blast on. Is when Yamashibuki attacks, you can counter blast 1 to bounce one of your units back to your hand. and spawn 2 evil decoy tokens.
So the thing is that traditionally, correct me if I'm wrong, Nubatama has always had a very strong liking or fetish for Mangatsu Gale. What's the name? Gale? The
Yes.
Grade 2. And they also like to play the one with Shianui. I forgot his name. The red color one. Furai.
Yes.
Yeah, so the thing is that Nubatama boxers always have that little one guy, that one grade 2 triple rare 9k that has a bounce skill and gains power. And this is finally Hanzo's time to get one. So we don't actually need Mangatsu Gale in his deck. Is Mangatsu Gale still viable in his deck?
I wouldn't play it because of the heavy counterblast restriction.
Because your counterblast is already used for wood. So generally speaking, you can actually muscle out stuff like your Furai or your Mangatsu Gale for this guy. I think it's really good. Even by just using his skill alone, he goes up to 19k.
Yes, and if he has even more tokens,
He gets more.
Yeah, so he stacks basically.
Yeah. Keep in mind that Zangetsu's spawn skill and Yamashibuki's spawn skill is both on Vanguard or Rearguard. So you could still call that, write them, and continue the assault. But the other skills like the gaining power, the protection, and this one, the counter charge, is strictly on the Rearguard. So you have the time where you want what lah. But I guess it's
honestly the best grade 2 right target would be Zangetsu. But if you don't have it, either 2 is fine. Because getting to your grade 3 turn is always very important.
Of course lah, we don't have right decks here.
Yep.
Okay, grade 1 time. Grade 1 with 4 of Kale... I can't pronounce.
Kagisarashi.
Yes. This is what?
Kurogiri.
No, this is grade 1. What's grade? Oh, you only play 11 grade 1s. Come, explain.
Yes. Alright, anyway. You may be, if you've been doing the math so far, you'll be looking at 30 cards so far. Because this deck plays 20 grade 0s, but I'll tell you why later. Anyway, let me go through the skills of the grade 1s, and each of them have like great utility in Hanzo. So first is Evil Stealth Dragon Kagesarashi. He only has one ability, which is Act. Retire this unit to spawn 2 tokens. And if your Vanguard is Hanzo, you can put a card from your hand into Soul to search your deck for a Hanzo and add it to hand. Notice how his cost said put a card from your hand into Soul. You can literally put any card you want. And what do you want in Soul?
Tasogare!
Tasogare Hanzo. So you can technically start your assault with Tasogare Hanzo as soon as your first grade 3, right?
So, and he also gets a skill to call 2 wood. So he not only trades himself in for 2 actually valuable bodies, he puts a card to Soul. So if you get Tasogare, it's pretty good. If not, it's fine.
And he also
you can search, right, for
any Hanzo.
But the only drawback is that it actually needs your Vanguard to have Hanzo in the name. So it's typically only a turn 3 card. But the first clause is just retire and call 2 wood. So if you really just need the wood to beat, you could use him on turn 2 or even turn 1, I assume, but you wouldn't actually do that.
Yeah, you usually just keep it to turn 3. And he's also a 10k shield, so you know,
yeah, white throw.
Always there. And the 2 tokens you spawn can always be used for Akatsuki Hanzo to stack your opponent's field. So you know, utilities here and there.
Yeah. Okay, Kurogiri next.
Next is Kurogiri, our original token spammer. Anyway, Kurogiri's skill is Act, Soul Blast 2, bounce him to hand, call 2 tokens. A very simple skill, but very effective in Hanzo.
The thing is that it's Soul Blast, and correct me if I'm wrong, you don't actually have any other cards in Soul Blast, right?
We have, so because of the grade 2 Yamashibuki, he sends himself into Soul after his battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, where do you go? Oh, there.
So he sends himself into the Soul. So you're getting 1 Soul and 1 counter charge out of this man.
Free refund.
Yes. So you're either refunding 1 Soul, so half the cost here, or you're refunding 1 counter blast, which is a full cost for Yamashibuki or half of the cost for Zangetsu.
Half? Isn't it just 1?
It's a CB1 to call 1
stack
token.
it lah.
Yeah, so you can call it multiple times.
Yeah, that's the thing. Zangetsu is meant to be spent.
Yeah, so Kurogiri, important card in the deck. If it's your top draw from no cards in hand, you'll always be happy to see him because you're using on Akatsuki Hanzo, and then you can just use him to sack your opponent's board and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that, Stealth Beast Katarigitsune, our grade 3 searcher. His continuous ability for the plus 5k is if you have a token, he gains plus 5. And since this deck revolves around summoning tokens, he's usually a 13k body.
The thing is that actually 2 out of 3, or yeah, I think 2 or 3 of Nubatama's bosses now rely on tokens, which is Tasogare Hanzo. So this skill is almost instantly free. I think the only one that actually doesn't is Mangetsu Sob.
And Jamil Kongo.
And Jami.
But Jami is a splashable card, you can play him in it.
Yeah, Jami is a special boy.
Anyway, since you can actually bounce Katari Gishin into hand, you can actually search out, you can actually use this, get use out of the same copy of the card multiple times. And usually you want to search out for your Tasogare Hanzo so that you can fuel this man to put a card from your hand into soul.
But the thing is that it's still a top 5 searcher, so whatever you get, just take. I'm assuming lah. If you need Antatsuki, take Antatsuki. You need Tasogare, take Tasogare lah. But generally, the big pluser would be Tasogare in Soul lah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now to the Great Zeros, and this is the part where Narmi is going to talk a bit. Let's try not to make this a 30-minute video.
Okay, so the trigger lineup is going to be 4 heals, 4 crits, 8 draws. 4 of them being a draw PG, of course, and a starter. That is the basic lineup. Okay, and then to add some spice, we have Stealth Beast Hagakure. We'll talk about Hagakure later. First, we'll talk about the trigger lineup. So for the trigger lineup, we are playing 8 draws because this deck needs to draw into its pieces, and the crit doesn't really matter because you're aiming for multi-attacks anyway.
So the thing about this deck is that if you notice, right, you need a lot of pieces to keep fueling. So you don't actually matter about crits because you're not aiming to just do a few good little swings. With stuff like Tasogare, you could potentially go in for 6 attacks as soon as possible, which is just seriously busted if you ask me. It scales really badly, really well, not badly for the opponent. You can go for like, what, 3 attacks on the first turn 3, and then by turn 4 you could go up to 6 or 7 attacks. Yeah. So it's actually really menacing, and the main key is still Tasogare. So you want as many Tasogores in there as possible. You need to draw them. You want as many Kage-Sarashi, you want the Kurogiri as possible. You just draw. It really doesn't matter. The best part actually is that this is not that bad because if you play a draw, right, and if you call it, you don't feel bad when you actually sack it. It's just 5k shield. You can just throw it rather than calling a 15k shield. It's like.
Also, drawing into more cards is important because of Tasogare's first ability. You need to discard 2 cards to ride him also. So it's very important for you to have enough cards in hand for you to survive your opponent's turn and gain value off of Tasogare so that you can set up for future turns. So that's the trigger lineup. Now this special boy, Stealth Beast Hagakure. He has one simple ability. On place, rearguard or guardian circle. He copies the power and shield of a unit of your choosing that is on your field.
It has to be your side.
So you know how Akatsuki Hanzo gains an extra 20k by using his ability? Well, you can copy this and now you have another 32k beatstick on the field.
Yeah!
Alright? He's also very good while guarding because you so imagine your opponent is attacking you with something you need to guard with 40k. So first you throw down a heal trigger, then you throw down Hagakure. Since the heal trigger is already on the field, you can use Hagakure's skill to copy the shield of the heal trigger. Now Hagakure is an extra 20k shield.
Now one extra application of Hagakure that is not very clear cut, and it's not say the biggest application, but it's just something I had to point out. I just realized Tasogare's clause when he swaps from dawn to dusk is that he gives all of your regulars 5k shield. So if you're really desperate, right, you could actually throw out a wood from your back row or whatever, which is 10k shield, and then even if you have nothing, you can just copy it, right, and then it just goes up to another 10k shield.
Yeah. Technically you can just leave the wood there and just guard for a 10k from your hand.
Yeah. So it's actually a pretty niche application. It's not the most greatest use of Hagakure. Hagakure is even a card we featured on our highest power in Vanguard video, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that actually it's not that bad in a sense because it's like there's still routes to use it. It's not a complete dead weight as a lot of people think. It's a PR. No, it's not PR.
No, it's a common.
It's a common.
It's a common from the first Nubatama set.
Wow. Okay. So we know what we are doing.
Anyway, Hagakure also is a great 0, so you can always sack him for any of the Hanzo's ability. So imagine this card being the only your top draw. You use Hanzo's ability first, call this man, copy the power. Attack with this first, 32k. Attack with your Vanguard Hanzo. Superior call Tasogare by retiring this grade 0. Now you have 3 32k swings with, from just one card.
But the thing is that to trigger Hanzo's first skill, you need 2 zeros on the board already, right?
Yeah, which is why in this deck,
you need a spam wood.
you need to manage your intercept sometimes. Your defense is very crucial. You can guard small attacks very easily, but sometimes you don't have the cards in your hand to spawn more wood. So you have to pick and choose sometimes. So that's about it for the deck profile. I hope you guys got some fun ideas for how to play with Hanzo. One of the more fun archetypes of Nobatama. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Please like, share and subscribe. And Ames?
What a strong player. Nothing to say already. It's just a really fun deck for V. Premium wise, we are now having a section for every V deck where we talk about premium application. Premium application is relatively easy. The 2020 strike curves very well into Hanzo. I mean, you could also play the one true king Rene, which is like...
Since Jamil Congo isn't in this deck, you can always play Rene with him. And also, since your strides also inherit the name of your Vanguard, you can still superior call Hanzo after your Vanguard attacks.
Yeah, that is broken, man. Rene, this thing is... But I mean, generally speaking, it is definitely not a regret to pick up this deck. I think it's seriously fun. For anyone who likes aggression, but not the very... disgusting type of aggression. It's something that rewards skill, I think, in terms of how you manage your resources, how you manage your pieces. It's something that really rewards you, and in terms of your deck building, as you can see, Narmi takes in Hagakure, but you don't have to. You can always build your own version and try. Like I said, we always encourage play testing and whatnot, and I think Hanzo is one of the few decks that really there's no one way to build it. I know other players who build it in terms of disruption, like Zero to Pass is trying to work on something like that. But I think regardless of how you build it, it's gonna be fun. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Narmi. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.